This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. A juvenile and 3 young men will spend their first night at the Bahamas Department of Corrections after the 4 were charged together in the magistrate's court on multiple charges of armed robbery, housebreaking, stealing, receiving, possession of an unlicensed firearm, and attempted murder. 20-year-old Scenario Miller, 21-year-old Ezra Petty, and a juvenile, all of Greencastle, Eleuthera, and 18-year-old Lamar Wilchcombe of Pinewood Gardens were charged before Magistrate Cara Turnquest DeVoe in connection with incidents that occurred in Eleuthera. The 4 were charged with 1 count of housebreaking. It is alleged that sometime between January 21st and 25th, while in Rock Sound and being concerned together, they did break into and entered into the house of Andrew and Sarah Stirrup with intent to steal. The men allegedly stole over $10,000 worth of jewelry. They were also charged with receiving the same. Lamar Wilchcombe and the juvenile were further charged with 2 counts of armed robbery. It is alleged that on January 18th, the pair, concerned together and with others while in Palmetto Point and armed with a firearm, robbed C&A service station of $1,800 in cash and 4 cartons of backwood valued at $40. On the same day, they robbed Joel Stubbs of an iPhone 8 valued at $954. The pair were charged with the attempted murder of Joel Stubbs. Wilchcombe was charged with possession of an unlicensed shotgun and possession of ammunition. He was further charged along with Scenario Miller with shop breaking in Deep Creek, South Eleuthera between July 2017 and January 2018. The pair entered scene campsite and stole over $7,000 worth of goods. Lamar Wilchcombe was further charged on a separate count of housebreaking. It is alleged that while in New Providence on August 28, 2017, he entered the home of Lorenzo Woodside on Jacaranda Street and Thatch Palm Avenue and stole a black 12-gauge shotgun valued at $1,600. He was charged with receiving the same. The men pleaded not guilty to housebreaking, stealing, and receiving. However, they were not required to enter a plea to the other charges and were remanded until April 4th when they return for a VBI. The Jamaican Gleaner reporting that a construction worker believed to be a Bahamian was killed in Westmoreland this past Sunday. According to the paper, Kareem James was standing along Darling Street when a car pulled up with gunmen who opened fire, killing James on the spot. Another man was shot and injured in the process. He was taken to hospital. Here in the capital, police say a 53-year-old West Bay Street resident has gone missing. Patricia Cluza was last seen this past Monday. She is a Caucasian, about 5 feet 4 inches tall and medium build. Family members are appealing to anyone with information or who may have seen their relative to call police immediately. A discontent crowd of taxi drivers lined Prince George Wharf with an array of concerns, one of which is the fact that they are being barred from using the restrooms in the festival place. Veteran taxi driver Howard Lorota says no alternative bathroom had been given and he's not happy about the way they're being treated.
They give us alternative bathroom, it is fundamentally wrong.
Lorota says the issue is a serious one and did not appreciate the sensationalizing of the events that was published earlier this week in a local tabloid who claimed that taxi drivers were urinating and defecating while parked in their cars. Now, while he refrained from explicitly stating who was the sole entity barring them from the restrooms, he said it was the Port Authority, Ministry of Tourism, Defense Force, and Security who all worked together to enforce rules at the dock. Adding that to their list of contentions was the fact that tour buses seem to have taken over. Taxi driver Charles Hamilton made this complaint.
They're constantly shrinking the pie for the small man. You come here now, they don't even want you to have access in the yard. We as cab drivers, when we make $1, we take it direct into the Bahamian economy. When these large companies make money, they take it to the bank and pay their workers a minuscule amount. Is that all we want for Bahamian people? To disempower them so that all of us can become workers? I like my job. I love working at it, and I don't want someone to come and shrink my opportunity.
Minister of Transport Frankie Campbell says they are engaged in dialogue with all of the stakeholders and have come to a number of agreements. However, many of them call for some legislative amendments or changes in regulations. Police officers called on to the campus of Garvin Times Primary School this morning, and Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson is trying to figure out why. You see, Mrs. Wilson was expected to have a meeting with the school's principal and teachers, but was denied access.
The meeting was scheduled with the district superintendent, myself, and the principal, and the other parties for us to discuss a litany of concerns or complaints that the teachers have at the school. And I have been trying to have a meeting in October of last year for us to be able to resolve some of these matters. And I must say to you that some of the matters are small and can easily be resolved. So I was really taken aback when I came here this morning and saw police officers.
Now, according to Mrs. Wilson, those issues include concern over district examinations held in December.
And they thought that the students were at a disadvantage because there were topics that were given on the examination that the teachers never taught, so the children never learned it. And so teachers know that that affects not only the results, the students' results, but it also affects you mentally, because you would think that, oh, I failed. However, you could not pass if you were not taught the content which you were tested on.
On Monday, the school became aware that one of its students had tested positive for TB. The entire student body and teachers have since been tested. The government's moved a step closer to selecting a new management company for the New Providence landfill. Press Secretary Anthony Noble yesterday announced that the number of bidders has been reduced to 6 and that the request for proposals, or RFP, will be available by week's end.
Minister Ferrer tells me that the letters to the short list of companies that are going to be invited to bid was sent out on Friday. In fact, letters to all of the companies were sent out on Friday, including those who are not going to be invited to bid, was sent out on Friday. And the RFPs will be ready by the end of this week. Again, we're talking about trying to get a new management company in there. By May has been the target date to get that landfill sorted out and get somebody in there to remediate what's been going on.
No word on if any of the 6 companies are Bahamian owned. The government has, however, given itself until March 15th of this year to select a preferred bidder. Stay with us. We have sports and weather when we return.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.